Okay, we are live for Shabbat. ETA 23-minute start time. Time to set everything up and get this link out. there are 26 people watching a live feed of an empty sanctuary right now. How funny is that?
I'm so upset.
Yeah.
How much more? I'm doing everything. It's like horrible people. Like, how hard is it to hold a camera when your mom is trying to save the world? Or your life? Are we 6 feet from each other? Oh my God. How ridiculous is that?
So,
Oh, boy. Do you have books? I think these are your books. So tell me the truth. Are you feeling festive all things this part? I do.
You feel festive?
I feel festive. I also am extremely scared that this will not work out. But well, this. But I'm actually, I feel festive. I mean, you worked so hard, and look, you'll be telling this to your grandchildren. No one's going to ever forget this. But no, Rabbi said he's asking people to interview someone in their family who had a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah, and most people don't remember it. And my brother actually, my daughter interviewed my brother, the only person in our family who had a bar mitzvah, and had a miserable experience of, I mean, the way he described it, I'm not going to repeat, but he basically didn't know what he was doing. in an Orthodox synagogue with no concept whatsoever. He was told to do it. He was given a text. He read it. Candy was thrown, and that was it. And that's what they take it anyway. So you're never going to forget yours. No matter what happens, you are never going to forget yours. So, Rabbi,
Yeah, imagine, Zach, if you were in the position at some point where your grandson is interviewing you about your bar mitzvah and do you remember it or not?
no one will forget it ever. One button. On.
Check. Okay, I seem to be on as well. All right, Shabbat Shalom. You can't see it, but we have a packed house. Just kidding. We're observing all of the social distancing you can imagine, even with the Rabinowitz family here to celebrate a bar mitzvah under the most unusual circumstances possible. So we are going to open and hope that it is working, and we will have no idea if it stops working, with Hava Nashira. Let's sing the song together at the bottom of page 339 in the Mishkan Tefillah Shabbat edition.
Go.
Okay.
Because we're trying to make it as festive as possible.
Go ahead, I'll follow you. I would like to invite the Rabinowitz family into their socially distanced corner of the bima as we turn to page 2 for candles. Not quite yet.
Oh.
We join together. Zach has a very fancy and very empty Kiddush cup in front of him. And so as we turn to page 5 together, we ask that you pick up the Kiddush cup and now lead us in Friday night Kiddush. Okay, remember? Yes, that book, and remember? Mike, right, there you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'rasavanu v'shabbat kodesho v'ahavah u'ratzon v'yinkivanu zikaronu ma'aseh b'reishit ki hu yom tehillah u'nikra'e kodesh. Zecher Yitziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'charta V'vanu Kidasha Mikol ha'anim V'shabbat Kodshecha V'ahava u'ratzon Hinkatanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. And now put it down without exactly.
And you,
And just like a preschooler, take a pretend sip from your pretend grape juice.
Yeah.
Okay, Rabinowitz family, you may have a seat. as we continue together in a totally new normal. As I walked by the phone, by the way, I just wanted to share with all of you that the messages that I saw streaming across the service were Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov,
Yeah.
Zach, Mazel Tov, and his family. There is not a family in the world that does not have so much empathy for the unusual circumstances that you're going through this with. And I will probably say this 2 or 3 more times before we finish, but Cantor and I have been incredibly impressed by how you have handled this entire thing, Zach. I mean, you've just been rock solid, flexible, incredible, on top of your normal, prepared, level-headed self. So we're just really excited to share this with you. And that through technology of some sort, we're able to share it with our friends and family and members of the congregation as well. We're going to try and feel some of our usual Shabbat flow, and we will begin on page 12 with L'Chlu Ranana. We continue in our prayer books. We turn to pages 20 and 21 for L'Chadodin. It's our custom to rise and face the entrance, which we will do together. And I invite anyone at home to rise on the 9th paragraph and face an entrance in your own home. And who knows, you might see someone running in and out of that entrance. Fun fact, this was originally, you would stand up to let the people who were in mourning come in, because the prelude to Shabbat, Kabbalah Shabbat, was so happy that if you were in mourning, you weren't expected to come and participate. So everyone would rise at the end of L'Chadodin and welcome everyone in. Then people forgot that that's why we did it and created a new reason of welcoming Shabbat. So here we go. Shabbat. Maybe you've never been to a service before and you stumbled upon this live stream and have no idea what's happening. Maybe you've been to so many services and so many live streaming of services and you think, well, with the coronavirus, why don't all of the Jewish people just have one large streaming service for everyone? And it's because there are these small differences, right, Cantor, between different communities. And this is one of our community's differences. So if you know what's coming, please join us in Tov Lahodot on page 22. And I expect to hear those Tovs nice and loud all the way from Paramus or Hackensack or Fairlawn or wherever you are.
And by the way, people don't know how it is here. It will just sound normal.
Yes, that's true. I will try and bring the Tov on behalf of the congregation.
Please come. Usually I'm very annoyed when people are very loud on this, but now I'm actually happy. Be as loud as you can.
Tov, 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 Tov. That made the room feel so much more empty than it felt before. We join together with Shalom Aleichem as we welcome Shabbat despite our distance on page 24. Continue on pages 26 and 28 with Chetzi Kaddish, followed by our call to worship. Please rise. Amen. continue and remain standing as we turn to page 30 and read together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv harabim, b'chokhmah poteach she'arim, u'bitvuna meshaneh itim, u'machalif et hazmanim, u'mesader et hakochavim, u'mishmoroteha barakia kirtzono, borei nom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshem mipnei or, u'ma'avir yom u'mevi layla, u'mavdil bein yom u'bein layla, Adonai tzeba'ot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'aviv ha'arabim. The top of page 33, I read, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, and I struggle with its truth. Did you mean Torah for me? Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohel Amo Yisrael. Page 34. Please be seated, unless you're Zach, in which case you will lead us in the Ve'ahavta on page 36. We continue on page 39 as a lead-in to the Michalocha. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot. That wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a promise, that there is a better place, a promised land. That the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 40, Michalocha. Starting off with a little bit of liveliness.
Bye.
42 as we continue on page 42 with Hashkivenu, we think a little bit more carefully about this prayer for shelter as we think of families that are sheltering in place, as we contemplate what that may mean in our own near future, and even without that order, spending so much time in the shelter of our home with loved ones. That is a blessing every single moment, right? But truly, it is nice to know that even at a time like this, we can still find, we hope, some semblance of safety in our own homes. We pray together. As we turn to page 44 for Vishamru, we acknowledge that on Shabbat, pretty much nothing can get in the way of singing Vishamru. Not even the crisis that we are in denies us our Vishamru experience. So please, with gusto, join us. Vishamru. As we continue in our service to be led by our bar mitzvah, we turn to page 46 and we continue on the even pages.
And please rise.
And please rise.
Adonai הרוח ומן הגשם, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סולק נופלים ברופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו משמי עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדומך מלך ממית ומקיים, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני לחיי הכל.
אתה הקדוש ושמך הקדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללו הסלע. אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. So, this is a moment in our community where we typically turn to page 58 and we literally share out loud in the room what people are thankful for this week. And this is a week that is even more important than most to come up with something to say thank you for. So, if you are watching and we're still streaming, which we may or may not be, in fact, I'm just too tempted, I'm going to go look.
Are we streaming?
Ooh, 98 people. 100. Wow. You're so popular, Zach.
That's really neat.
If there's 100 people here, 98 are here for you, just so you know. So this is my instruction to every single person watching. Turn to someone or find someone that is in the same home and living space than you are and tell them something that you are grateful for that happened this week, even amidst the craziness as it was getting weirder and weirder every single day. Think of something that you are grateful that happened, find someone and tell them. And if you do not have anyone in your home, I want you to pick up your phone and either text or call a friend and tell them that your rabbi or some strange rabbi on Facebook at any rate is telling you to call someone and tell them something for which you're grateful. And without a doubt, the thing that I am the most grateful for is you and your family and the amount of patience and poise that you have had in the last week. It was one of the hardest conversations that we ever had, Cantor and I, about what we're doing this weekend. And I know you know it's been really hard on your parents and your grandparents, and I know that it's hard on you too, even though you don't necessarily show it. But within all of this, your family and us, those in this room and everybody watching, we are all so grateful for you to brighten up this week with a great ending, with a great bar mitzvah service.
And I'm grateful to you, Zach, for being such an amazing student and such a beautiful soul. So I'm just grateful for you to be you and for social media that allows us to actually have this sharing experience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to go in on that too?
I'm thankful that we made it to today, to be here also.
Thankful that we made it today to be here together, absolutely. Okay, if you didn't call someone or text them yet or tell someone in your house, go do it right now. And we continue at the very bottom of page 58. Blessed are you, Adonai, your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, atov shimcha u'chol ha'ed le'odot. We continue on page 16, Shalom Rav, a prayer for peace.
Some logistical issues.
I would come and help,
No, you
but I
can't.
can't.
Not today. Okay. And now I don't see my music.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Hasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Hasim Leolam.
so much change, we take a few moments in this service just for ourselves. Wherever we are, at home, in a quiet space, alone but with others in spirit, surrounded by the madness and chaos of family life that will not be contained, or maybe all sitting on a shared couch, or each doing their own thing to try and find some individual sanity in this weekend, looking at a similar week ahead. We take a few moments for ourselves, for our own thoughts and prayers and meditations.
Guide my step and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make this day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Guide my steps. Oh, for silence. Oh, guide my steps. Oh, for silence. Oh, guide my steps.
We return in our prayer book to page 253. Misha Berach Avotinu V'Imotenu Avraham Yitzhak V'Yaakov Sar Rivka Rachel V'Leah Hu Yivarecha Chacholim. God of our ancestors, we have prayed to you for healing in many times throughout the ages, and we can't help but feel like this is a unique one among them. So we add our prayers to those around the world, to all of those who are battling this unique and universal illness. And we also think of those that were ill already and entered this time in such a precarious state. In our community, we think of David Kohane, Gail Abramson, Denise Lewitt, Masha Chaya Batlipe, Barbara Enos, Darcy Pfeiffer, Emma Berlin, David Ben Hessel, John Nathaniel, Yaakov Chaim Ben Shoshana, Herb Diamond, Lucien Rappaport, Marilyn Lanzi, Susan Fishbane, Jean Resnick, Paul Block, Justin Schulman, Dee Inge, Cheryl Anger, Naomi Kirstein, Shelley Balin, Grayson Shane Friedman, Linda Thompson, Jennifer Rosenthal, Gracie Rockland, Katie Hirsch, Mary Pellet, Esaf Menachem Ben Devorah, Zoya Bat Raya, Judy Rice, George Bassel, Abraham Yitzhak Ben Moshe B'chaika, Eileen Grogan, Aharon Ben Zoya, Oren Collins, Renee Farley, Dr. Littleman, Golda Bat Leah Elka, Bob Stupinski, Rebecca Gormere, Joan Landsberg, Kim Suttle, Shelby Caven, Michelle Small, Congressman John Lewis, Nechema Ben Shifra. We ask everyone streaming with us to say the names for whom you're thinking of now out loud as part of this prayer. Every week, including tonight, hundreds of Reformed synagogues and thousands of Reformed Jews use this prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah. And we could translate that to house of prayer, sanctuary of prayer, or if we want to go really old school, tabernacle of prayer. And Zach, again, you are so incredible, and we are all just in awe of you and your family right now. Your Torah portion this weekend focuses completely on the original Mishkan that you'll read about tomorrow. A single portable structure, not unlike a large portable tent or pavilion that we might use today for an outdoor festival. It was for one community, and it was for everyone in that community, its guests, those passing through. And tomorrow, Zach, you will bring us a message of tzedakah and generosity that now, when I think about the weeks ago that you drew to that topic, seems almost prescient. That message we need, because this is a current crisis that has let us know that probably for quite a while now, but definitely now, we all live in one shared global Mishkan. 2 weeks ago, we were careful. We didn't touch, we washed hands, we isolated if you had symptoms. 1 week ago, we were concerned. We canceled large events. We stayed 3 feet apart. People over 60 started to stay home. And now, we're scared. We're scared because we can look back and see we should have been at this point 2 weeks ago. We're scared because we realize it was foolish to think that coronavirus outbreaks on the other side of the world wouldn't reach our corner of the global Mishkan. And even if it did, it wouldn't be as bad. We're scared because as bad as it is, it's getting worse. We're scared because whether I'm speaking to a 9-year-old this week or a 95-year-old this week, it's completely new for all of us. We're scared because it's scary, and it's okay to be afraid. Normally, the world is a scary place, and one of our oldest Hebrew quotes gets right to that point. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar me'od. The whole world is like a scary, narrow bridge. But even so, the quote finishes, V'ha'ikar lo lefachad klal. The most important part is not to be afraid. Or as the sci-fi classic Dune puts it so perfectly, fear is the mind killer. But how do we resist it? How do we resist the fear and walk forward normally when the narrow bridge is narrower than it has ever been before? The short answer is we don't walk normally, but we walk forward anyway. Right now, the world is not normal. Our lives are not normal. The health and economic risks we face as individuals and as communities are absolutely dire. Our behavior at this time is literally life or death, possibly for ourselves and definitely for others. Judaism makes this choice an easy one. Uvacharta b'chaim. Choose life so that you and your descendants may live. It's easy enough to say, but harder to live out. And in this changed Twilight Zone-esque reality, we can all use a little bit more explicit direction on what it means to choose life. And so to that effect, here's an example of what might be called the 10 coronavirus commandments. Number 1, thou shalt observe strict social distancing. Stay at home as much as possible. Pool your errands so you don't have to go out as frequently. And when you do go out, don't touch public surfaces or other people. The traditional Jewish blessing of the home begins, may this home be a place of happiness and health. Only social distancing will keep it so. However, commandment number 2, thou shalt not socially isolate. Vayomer Adonai lo tov heyeh ha'adam levad. And God said, it is not good for a person to be alone. So go outside for a walk where you can see nature and other human beings from a 6-foot different distance. Video call your friends and family and find regular ways to connect with a community that isn't work. Number 3, thou shalt be informed. Ezeh ha'chayim, who is wise, the one who learns from all. This is a time to go beyond the headlines. It's a time to especially check local Bergen County news and resources that includes things like a hotline for people who have concerns and information on where to go that is reliable and important. And speaking of, commandment number 4, thou shalt not share falsely. Before you share something about coronavirus, especially on social media, make sure it is from a trusted, verified source. Remember, the actual 10 Commandments also forbids false testimony. Number 5, thou shalt support thy neighbor in need. And this time, for once, the word neighbor is not a metaphor. Now is the time to unilaterally support local care initiatives, especially for those living near or below the poverty line. Donate to local food programs, offer assistance to at-risk neighbors, donate blood if you can safely, and even offer to help homebound elderly set up their technology to be less lonely. Commandment number 6, thou shalt not resist help for thyself, nor shalt thou not ask for help when needed. This commandment is about mental health. We can't afford to stigmatize or ignore it anymore. We never could. So if we already struggle with anxiety or depression or other mental health issues, it is our responsibility to receive help wherever it is offered, however we can get it, and it is also our responsibility to ask for help without shame. Number 7, thou shalt be patient with those with whom you reside, including yourself. I want everyone to repeat after me at home and here together. Savlanut. Ready? Savlanut. Savlanut is the Hebrew word and the Jewish value for patience. And let's face it, right now things are weird. We're all going to act weirdly and illogically. A little bit of patience will go a long way. Number 8, thou shalt not only alleviate boredom through binge watching. Proverbs 16:27 instructs, the idle person invites evil. So as social distancing and staying at home continues for unknown weeks, we need to figure out something to do other than just binge watch Narcos Mexico. Or, at least once I finish that, then I have to watch Watchmen next. And after that, look, the point is, this can be a great opportunity to engage with arts and music and culture and hobbies and crafts and home projects. Right now, instructors and experts around the world are posting and streaming instructions online, often for free, so that it is actually a great time to either re-engage in a hobby or skill that we've long neglected. Ima, I promise I'll pick up the clarinet. Or even to pick up something new for ourselves as an individual, or a great opportunity to adopt a new skill to develop with your spouse or your family. Commandment number 9, thou shalt practice graceful kindness. In Hebrew, we call it gemilut chasadim, and it's one of the greatest values in Judaism. It's equal parts attitude and action. Now more than ever, it's easy to fall into a foul mood and lash out at the others that we're cooped up with. So it's even more important to act gracefully, to respect boundaries, and to presume good intentions. And when we interact with anyone, be they family or stranger, let's act from a place of kindness. Remember, we're all crossing that same narrow bridge together at the same time. And that brings me to the final coronavirus commandment, number 10. Thou shalt not despair. We don't feel in control because we're not. We don't know what is to come. We don't know how long this is going to last, but we do know that when it's over, the world will be completely different than the way it was before. So it is very easy to feel anxious, and it is very easy to feel despair. The feelings themselves are okay and they're normal, but it's not okay to dwell on them. So we need to feel the horribleness, and then we need to let it go. And we need to repeat that as often as is necessary. And if we have trouble letting go of those horrible feelings, it's time to call a friend or a hotline. As we drastically change our lives in this coronavirus crisis, remember above all that we are not alone. All of us are having to go through this together. Yes, it will last a long time. Yes, there will be loss along the way. It is sad. It is scary. But there will be eventually an end to this particular narrow bridge. And we will get to the other side eventually, together. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yishar Koach.
Thank you. We rise and turn to page 282 as we close with Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשה מפינוי ארצות, ולא שמנו כי משפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כרת, והור עלינו יכול העולם, ואנחנו פועלים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
As we remain standing, we continue on page 298 with what will undoubtedly be, on page 294, with what will undoubtedly be one of the most difficult parts of the service as we stream around the world for our people. We always gather together in times of joy, but we also gather together in times of sadness. And so for people who are still in Shiva or Shloshim, the recent days of mourning, or observing a yard site, please know that wherever you are, no matter how alone you feel, we all are here with you in spirit and share together the support in our hearts and minds that we would normally be able to give in person as well. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth in this season of years past and in recent days. We also recall the martyrs of our people, especially those who passed in the long night of the Shoah, and we remember everyone whose name and life was a blessing to humanity. As we read together on page 294, we think of in our community the recent passings of Buddy Bernstein and Gerald Singerman, and we recall the yard sites on the Shabbat: Isaac Becker, Pearl Beer, Seymour Black, Millie Borovitz, Deborah Bowman, Gersh Paczynski, Max Steinman, Ronna Friedman, David Friedman, Anita Haberman, Sandra Hartman, Louis Jacobs, Harold Jacobus, Nathan Kirstein, Matthew Levy, Dora Levy, Sophie Lindenbaum, Ethel Luciano, Essel Markowitz, Charles Markowitz, Max Nacht, Faye Patulski, Jeanette Rausch, Lillian Reinstein, Erwin Rosman, Daniel Shacker, Yetta Weinstein, Barbara Utarian, Jacob Zeberfarm, and Sydney Slopes. Please say any names that you have for Warner's Kaddish now. We join together. Yitkadam v'yitkadash shemei rabban, v'yalma divra v'yurtei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabban mevarach le'alam u'lamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei v'kudashah v'richu, Ne'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran ve'alma ve'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'romah, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memory, through those who love them and keep those memories alive, ever be a blessing. Please be seated. I would now like to digitally call up and manifest Steve Berman to read us with the announcements, but I will do it in his stead. The main thing to keep in mind is we have gone completely online as a congregation. We are still sorting out exactly how we will do services. Tomorrow at 10:30 with the bar mitzvah, we will be on Facebook Live once again, findable at the same spot attached to my name and in the Temple Synagogue Group's page group. This is where it becomes so evident that I am Facebook illiterate. But it'll be findable the same way. If you found it now, you'll find it tomorrow.
And it's open to public.
And it's open to the public, absolutely. Torah study will be on Zoom, and the schedule that is posted in the Facebook group and has been sent out to the community has the links to Zoom invites at least once a day to find some community, even aside from work and family, every single day. And the next one after Shabbat will be Saturday morning with a study on human slavery, human trafficking and slavery in advance of Passover. With that, we conclude again at the bottom of page 339 with Hava Neshira. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for everyone's patience this week as we have sorted out how to do this. We hope that this worked. Please let us know. Shabbat Shalom. If you brought your own oneg or l'chaim, now is the time to bust it out if you haven't already. And huge mazel tov and admiration from myself personally, from the cantor, of course, and from every single post that I saw when I picked up the phone earlier. Really, it was basically about how amazing you are. So with that, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Oh, people are gone already. We went from 100 down to 90. Oh, 92. People are joining back. Now is not the time. I'm still streaming as I'm saying this, by the way, because I don't actually know how to turn it off. Maybe it's this button.